In lesson 5-13, we're going to be working on dividing fractions. Here's a problem that's set up just like the page in your workbook that you need to do for today. Have a read with me so that you can see what you're expected to do. 3 students equally share 1/2 meter of rope for a project. How long is each student's piece? You need to give the number model, the answer or solution, a summary number model, which we'll talk about what that is, and how to check using multiplication. We'll go through each step slowly so that you know what's expected of you for the workbook page. Let's start with the number model. So what are the important numbers here? I have 1/2 meter of rope and then 3 students. Okay, so what are they asking me to do with those numbers? Well, I bolded and made really red the words equally share. Anytime you see those words in your word problems for this chapter, equally share, I want you to think divide. You're going to divide. When someone is equally sharing a snack with another person, their fruit snacks, they are dividing it between the two. So these 3 students are going to divide 1/2 meter of rope. So the thing that's being divided goes first. That's 1/2 meter. Equally share means to divide. And how many are we dividing it amongst? 3 kids, 3 students. And it's a number model, so it ends with a letter. I'll put R for rope. Okay, so now we need to take this number model and use it so that we can solve the problem and find the solution. How much will each student get? How many meters? So here's our number model, 1/2 divided by 3. We haven't yet divided fractions, but I'm going to teach you right now, and it's really pretty simple because you already know how to multiply fractions. And dividing fractions is really using multiplication. Dividing fractions is when you multiply by the reciprocal. So step 1, you put your whole number over 1. Then you are going to keep the first fraction. Keep it the same. 1/2. Then you flip the division sign to a multiplication sign. So you're multiplying, and then we'll do the reciprocal of 3 over 1. So that means to flip it upside down. So there you have it. 1/3 is the reciprocal of 3 over 1. We flipped it over, the 1 is now on the top and the 3 is on the bottom. Now we just multiply straight across. So 1 times 1, we get 1. And then 2 times 3, we get 6. So our solution is 1/6. But we're going to take a further look into this. We're going to use a picture to describe why this works. So here is our rope, and I'm going to divide it into 3 equal pieces. And we're going to use the number line to figure out how big each section is. Dividing the rope into 3 equal parts is like finding 1/3 of it. So if we take 1/3 times 1/2, because we know that of means times, we also get 1/6. So this is why we do multiplication whenever we are dividing fractions. Alright, now let's finish filling out our workbook page. So the solution we found out with both dividing and multiplying, that each student will get 1/6 meter of rope. Now the summary number problem is just like a number sentence. They're asking you to take the original number model that you had and add the answer to the end. So 1/2 divided by 3 equals, instead of a letter this time, put the answer, 1/6. And then the very last step is to check your answer using multiplication. So you're going to do the opposite, read the summary number model backwards, and write that for checking using multiplication. So 1/6, and to check it with multiplication, you're going to multiply by 3 equals 3/6, which is also 1/2. So there we go. We got the same answer forward and backward. We checked using multiplication. We got it. If you check using multiplication and then you don't get the same number that you started with here, then you know that you did something wrong. And you need to go back and retry the problem.